video. So for everyone who said, "Oh, so his wife isn't good enough,"
at this point, it doesn't matter because
you might want to rethink how you make your choices in life. I mean, right is right, wrong is wrong, and I don't know if Steve Bisciotti's the guy who stepped up and said, "Yeah, we got to part ways."
He's the owner.
It'd be interesting to follow the money trail on that story because I was ready to talk about that. Because you had asked me during the commercials, did they jump to the gun? Because there was all these rumors that the NFL had already seen this video, and then they claimed they didn't see it. But why did they hand down that 2-game suspension? I think everybody's hand was caught in the cookie jar on the money trail. You had an owner who was probably telling the NFL, "He's my star. You can't do this. You got to help me with this." Then you got a commissioner who's just a puppet, and they all got caught because it was so egregious. Even the video, dragging her out of the elevator like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
To see the new video, and think about this, TMZ always gets ripped for being, the salacious paparazzi website. But the reality is, in the last year, they've broken some pretty big stories.
Well, that doesn't mean that they're not salacious paparazzi.
But you know what? They still break the stories. So if they go out, they get it, and they get it done. You got to give credit where credit is due. I would be interested to see who's going to pick up Ray Rice.
That's a great question. I don't know if anyone will pick him up this year. That'd be a great question for Ron.
And hopefully we'll get a Ron, our Sports Insider, here in the next 10 minutes or so. Because you got to really stop and think about it. He didn't get out in front of it even. I mean, he's had a window now to go do an enormous amount of goodwill work in the community. He held a press conference that he kind of stumbled through, that somebody told him what to say because it didn't flow out of his mouth. Schmuck. That's what he is. Ken Bilderback is not a schmuck. He is a good dude. I was talking to him via email the last 2 hours or so. Ken, you were way ahead of everything out at Hagg Lake, and it was so tragic this summer when an entire family drowned because there were no warning signs out there on that lake as to how dangerous it really is. What does it mean to you now that in the last 20 minutes they've actually closed the swimming area?
Well, I almost feel like I want to cry. You were talking about justice being delayed, and I still don't think justice has been served, especially for Michael Medill. But it's taken 2 years to get them to do this, and 2 weeks since that family of 4 drowned, and it's long overdue. But I'm glad they're doing something.
Well, I got to tell you, both yourself and Michael Medill, you guys really put your money where your mouth is. This is something that you guys were passionate about. You, for 4 years, were responsible for the life jacket kiosks that were out there. You were involved in that, and this is something that means a lot to you. Because maybe I'm just at a point in my life where I want to do things that are going to affect change and impact masses as opposed to just myself. Does that make sense?
It does. And, I'm almost at a different point in my life. I just want to affect one person. If we can save one child from drowning, and I hope we have over the years. As you mentioned, for 4 years I was volunteer with the Safe Kids Coalition, and I maintained the life jacket kiosk at the lake. And then 2 years ago, you might remember, 8 children fell off this ledge, and they were saved only by the absolutely heroic effort of a family that happened to be having a picnic at the lake. And when that happened, I was actually a volunteer public information officer for the local fire department. And I was at the scene, and I watched the parents and grandparents of these children as they were pulled out of the water. And I took the questions of the people on shore, every one of whom was demanding to know why there were no warning signs. And I didn't have a good answer for them. So we worked, one of the family members who saved this family 2 years ago, and I tried to work to get some signage done. But just as has happened for the past 24 years, the county said no to signs.
And it's all a reliability issues. This is kind of nonsense. I mean, it's a passing of the buck, at least what we've kind of uncovered in the last hour and a half here, going through all these different departments. The red tape is very, very thick. The one thing that I like that I would encourage people to go and see, that you should go to Ken Bilderback, and that's BILDERBACK.com, because you have some pictures on there that with the water down, you can really see what a dramatic ledge this is. It's a man-made body of water.
Right, and that's what I want people to understand. A lot of people are saying, well, you should know that you shouldn't go in the water unless you know how to swim. But I think what's important for people to understand is that right there at Sane Creek, it's really just a wading pool for most of the summer. And your kids can go in, up to their waist, and they're not anywhere near this drop-off. But this time of year, and it's just a short window where there's just extreme danger as the lake is drawn down, for irrigation purposes. All of a sudden, this deep channel that's cut by Sane Creek is covered by only sometimes a few inches of murky water. So you have parents who see their kids happily playing in the water up to their knees or below, and all of a sudden they're in 20, 25 feet of water, and it's a sharp ledge. Like I said, if people go to the website and look at it, it's not at all gradual. It's just a straight vertical drop. So most of the year, it's really not an issue, but it's this time of year, and that's why I was so eager to get the county to do something now instead of waiting till next spring. Because next spring, or early spring, it's not going to be a problem. It's a problem right now, especially with the hot weather.
Ken, in the perfect world, would you want to see that area, the wading area, where most of the year it's a wading pool, properly signed? Would that be the victory? Would that be the final, the end game, I guess?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. Because I certainly don't want to ban swimming at Hagg Lake.
No.
If you look at the history of Hagg Lake, except for the late summer, it has a remarkably safe record for swimming. So I'm not trying to get the word out to the public that you're risking your life every time you go to Hagg Lake, because you're not really. But there are these hidden dangers, and I know some of the comments I get from the community are people who say that they go swimming, they've been swimming there for 20 years, but usually not this late in the year, because often it's chilly and that sort of thing, and when they go out this late and see that ledge, they're shocked, even though they're experienced at that area. So, I'm not an expert on how to mark it, but there ought to be some sort of buoy line or something. Even if it's only out seasonally this time of year, there ought to be some way to really distinctly tell people this is where the drop-off is.
Well, I got to tell you, Ken, yourself, and Michael Medill, you guys are the type of people you got to have in the community, because, you stuck your own necks out. Michael with the $5,000 ticket, and quite frankly, he doesn't care. It's not about the money. He needed to call attention, and I think sometimes you have to embarrass people into doing to making the change. It would be too easy had Michael not stirred all this up over the weekend, getting arrested, getting the ticket, and putting the signs up, for paper pushers to just go, yeah, it'll die off here in the next couple of days. Don't worry about it.
And I give Michael all the credit, because he will probably tell you, he and I differ completely on how to go about things. I'm very, I work through the system, I've tried, I write these stories, I do these videos, I work the system, but nobody was listening to me until Michael came along.
And you know what? That's not unlike mine and Matt's relationship.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like our relationship.
It's not unlike it, because I'm completely comfortable stirring the pot and calling the names, and Matt's the guy in the background who's following the proper channels.
Yeah. But I think, in fairness, I think it took both.
It did, and that's why I'm giving you the credit as well. Because look, you're right. I've talked to a couple of people even today, and they've said things like, well, if you don't know how to swim, don't get in the water, and all these different things. Yes, that common sense tells you that, but people do get in the water.
Right.
And if you can save one life, it's an effort worthwhile.
And we'll never know if we save a life. We don't know if those life jackets that ski us have saved a life. I like to think they probably have, but the life that is saved is one you never hear about. It's only the lives that are lost that make the news. And I want to keep those names off the news from now on.
Ken, thank you. Thank you for doing that, and I would encourage you to really go take a look at it at kenbilderback.com is where you can see those pictures with the water drawn down. It is very, very dramatic. Ken, nice job. Thanks for being part of the show today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ken, thank you. That's so funny, man, because when he's saying that, that's exactly yours and mine relationship. It's like, I'm just quick shoot from the hip. I don't care. You know, with
You'll get arrested. You don't care about that.
I don't care. You care about getting arrested. I understand. Rano is available. He will join us next. If you haven't heard, Ray Rice, contract terminated, done. Too much heat.
Awesome. Now, the only thing I
would.
would say is that Jill and Coyne did listen to you.
Well,
That's my only feedback.